You can get your house show t-shirt over at DLoandKC.com, by the way. That's DLoandKC.com. Our collaborations with the dope ones. You can get our house show t-shirt, our second round t-shirt, our Chatty House t-shirt, or of course our Luke Belair Black Bottles t-shirt. So the draft, the WWE draft came to a conclusion, and I kept thinking as I was watching, because I watched for a few minutes during the Thunder delay, and it's like it wasn't. I watched the thing with Dolph Ziggler and Big E and Drew McIntyre. Like, oh, that's clever. That's a good way to tie in a bunch of different meaningless stories. Like, I'm with that. And then I was. Football's on. King's about to start. I'm gonna walk away from this. So I'm following, and I know Becky Lynch, Big E, all these big, names are moving and switching brands. And I was sitting there thinking, like, why don't I care about this? Like, this feels like it should be a big deal. And I realize I catch up on wrestling more than I sit down and watch it and take it apart. And why isn't this more meaningful? And then I realized it's like, what does the draft matter anymore? The draft is stuff. It's like they just arbitrarily do it. Like, didn't they used to do it after WrestleMania? And then they stopped doing, like, oh, we're things aren't really going the way we want to, so we're not going to do a draft. We're going to do a superstar shakeup. And it's like, if you really did a brand separation in which, for example, and obviously this whole thing it's already gone. Imagine Big E like a massive star on SmackDown, and Bobby Lashley, a massive star on Raw. And these guys are building, not for a month, not for a couple of months, but for like 2 years. Imagine if they were legitimately two different shows for like 2 or 2.5 years, what those matches would mean. But they're not even two different shows for like 8 months. Because when something doesn't go right, and inevitably something won't go right with what they just did in this draft, and they'll do the superstar shakeup, and it'll just be a couple of guys. Oh, this guy's going here and this guy's going here. And all of this stuff is for nothing because it creates no long-term, again, something that they lack is no long-term storytelling. You could tell great long-term stories if you actually had the two brands separated, but they can't do it. Like, they can't bring themselves to do it. They react in the short term. They react to ratings. They react to AEW. They don't ever plan stuff anymore. And I think the draft would be so much more meaningful if it wasn't once a year with a superstar shakeup in between.